All right, let's go ahead and
Okay,
get started
sure.
then. Let's just an introduction about UniFi for some of those that you're less familiar. I know most people probably know us here. That's why you joined the call today. But just so you know a little bit about Ubiquiti, we first started in outdoor wireless space around in the early 2000s, and we doing point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, and we grew in that category until around 2011 or so. We released our first access point for indoor, like business networking and enterprise networking. Originally, it was we had just a single AP model, and from that point in 2011 to now, just at the beginning of 2025, we've grown to be the biggest or the largest access point vendor in the world in terms of number of devices shipped worldwide. So in just a matter of 14 years, we've been able to become the #1 AP vendor. It tells you that we are growing very quickly. And I think that says something about our approach to our business. We're different than some of the vendors in the space, and I think it's led to us having a very strong customer base that does a lot of the work marketing our product and selling it. And so, first, kind of the reasons that we've grown so quickly, I would say you can kind of boil them down to three things, three pillars of our brand. The first of those is quality hardware. So UniFi, with Ubiquiti products, we try to develop products that not only work really well, are well designed from a hardware standpoint, but they also look nice. They shouldn't be an eyesore to have in your business. If you have an access point in your wall, you shouldn't have to cover it up necessarily. And so that's kind of the way we approach everything that we design. We try to make products that look nice, they have a good aesthetic to them. You'll see a lot of white colored devices, which is kind of less common in the networking industry. You might recognize some influence from Apple. We definitely have that influence. Our CEO, Robert, who started the company, came from an Apple background, and that influenced his approach to designing products. And I think it's been part of our success at this point. Now, one of the key differences between us and Apple, as many of you know, is that instead of being priced as a luxury product for the luxury market, we have focused very hard on making our hardware accessible to developing markets and price-sensitive markets. So we've grown very strong internationally. We initially grew very strong in small business and home users, and as time's gone on, we've increased our capacity, and we've grown in enterprise and larger businesses. And that's really a place where we're growing a lot today. We've released a full enterprise portfolio on our networking stack that offers enterprise grade performance, and so we really now can facilitate across whether it's networking, physical security. We can facilitate larger deployments than ever before. Basically can handle whatever scale deployment you have to throw at us. If you need 800 cameras for a single site, you can do it now in UniFi. So the second of those pillars I mentioned is the innovative software. So our software design is something we focus a lot on. If you haven't touched our software recently, I guarantee it's changed. I'm surprised all the time I go open up our software applications, I find that there's been new features added, the appearance is different. That's because we're constantly retooling and trying to improve the user experience because we want to make this the best UX possible. Now, what's cool about our software, instead of being something you have to pay for on top of the devices, with UniFi, we try to just sell you the hardware and then add on all these other benefits just to add value to the initial transaction. So this is great for those integrators and MSPs because you don't have to spend money. Your customers don't have to pay us for the software we provide, and that frees up more money that they can pay to you for recurring revenue opportunities like maintenance plans, and you can help manage their system for them. And that brings us to the third point, which is license-free cloud management. And I would say this has been a very big part of our success. Our products don't come with mandatory license fees. In UniFi, you can install any of our products without having to pay any recurring revenue to us. And if you're an integrator, you deployed 1,000 different deployments, you can manage them all through our site manager, which is our hybrid cloud solution. Basically, you have all these remote installs that have a local device that manages the software or manages the hardware devices and allows you to configure them. And it facilitates a connection through our cloud service securely to access these installs all throughout the world. So you can handle 1,000 deployments plus whatever scale you need to as an integrator. You can grow your business, manage permissions at a global level. You can really scale your business with UniFi without having to pay a cent to us in those maintenance fees. And again, that's opportunity for you to spend that money on expanding your business, hiring more personnel, growing the services that you offer. And so that's something we believe very much in, is trying to add value to both the integrator as well as the end user so that you have a great experience working with our product. So that's kind of our focus. And I think what's made us so successful. Let's move on and just talk about kind of where our portfolio is at today. Like I said, we started with a single access point model on UniFi product, but our whole goal has been to bring this full end-to-end IT solution that allows you to manage all these different products and different aspects of an IT environment in one interface. That's the philosophy of UniFi. It's bring together all these different parts of an IT ecosystem into one place, allow you to configure your network devices, your cameras, your door access control systems, all through a single pane of glass with simplified permissions and roles, allowing you to scale out and deploy, and manage multiple customer environments without growing in complexity. And so we have everything now, including cameras, door access control systems. What we're going to talk today about both cameras and our door access control. But we also have expanded to include things like amps. We just released our first audio amp recently, with a few months ago. We've also released a network storage device, a NAS device with our u-nas Pro. We also have all sorts of areas in which we're growing in, including rack technology, accessories. We have a new VoIP platform we just launched, UniFi Talk version the third generation of our VoIP platform with UniFi Talk. And so we have all these different areas that we're trying to bring technology and bring our philosophy with UniFi, which is the simplicity, this ease of management, and no licensing to all these different areas within the IT ecosystem. So that's our goal, and I think we've been able to do that with several different product verticals. But just if you're not familiar, check out our website, and you can learn more about the products that we offer. Today we'll focus again on those cameras and door access solutions. So again, where we try to eliminate those IT pain points for your customers, we try to make their job easier, and that's our approach and how we design our products. We also want to make your job easier as an integrator or MSP, and so we also try to make it very easy and try to develop tools that help you do your job better. Our site manager at unifi.ui.com has really become a very strong tool to manage those multiple deployments that you'll be able to manage for your customers. Check it out if you haven't seen it recently. It's always improving. We're always adding more and more features, and we're always trying to think about how we can make your job easier as well as the end customer. So let's talk about physical security now. So one of the reasons we wanted to focus on physical security today is kind of the market is in an interesting place. So in 2023, the physical security market is $136 billion US industry, and the revenue forecast is in 2030 that'll be up to $216 billion US. That's a compound annual growth rate of around 6.8% from just over the next 7-8 years. And this growth in physical security demonstrates that there's more and more demand for security integration services. So where you might have built your business on network integration, what you might find as time goes on, while still that being a reliable source of business, you might find there's more and more demand coming to you for physical security. Of course, that's one of the changes in the physical security industry that changed. You think about 40 years ago, you might have thought about a security team being like a guy with a badge, sitting in a room with several monitors, looking at the camera feeds, eating a donut or something. Today it's evolved to where we have solutions that are very internet dependent. They rely on connectivity, and a lot of these other products out there are cloud-based and require you to have cloud connectivity to be able to do things like AI processing of video recordings or video feeds. And so more and more people are going to start seeing, and they already are seeing it this way. They're seeing instead of seeing security as its own thing, they're starting to see physical security as an extension of the IT manager. And so many of us, who've worked in IT, although it's now becoming our responsibility, we may not have been trained in this area, and so it might be intimidating to get started with physical security. Now, UniFi Access, UniFi Protect, these products are geared towards the same technology, the same approach that made UniFi Network successful. And so, PoE is going to power these devices. It's going to make it very easy. If you're used to working with our UniFi Network devices, you're going to have no problem learning how to work with and manage these UniFi Access and UniFi Protect devices as well. So just kind of how UniFi Access and Protect can help you. Even if you don't have physical security experience, that's no problem. I am not from a security background. I've never done a physical security install, but I've now installed UniFi Protect and Access, and I can tell you that it was very straightforward and easy, and much easier than I anticipated. I'd feel very comfortable deploying this as a job myself now, and that's just because I think this product really simplifies the process of deploying physical security. this allows you to, by adding this to your portfolio, if you're a networks integrator or an IT integrator, by adding more physical security to your portfolio, it's just going to mean you're going to be able to build a more profitable business with UniFi. You'll be able to meet more customer needs. And the way UniFi works, we have these cloud gateway devices that allow you to manage your whole network from. You can also add on, cameras to that deployment. So if you have a UCG Max or Cloud Gateway Max, for a small business, and say it's a cafe, you've installed the UCG Max, 3 access points, a switch, and you can go ahead and provide a quote to the customer and also offer them to add on 3 cameras at critical entry points and a door access control system that manages the employee entrance to the back of the store. You could add on all this to deployment without having to add additional devices to manage these devices. So it would just be the cost of the hardware, like the cameras and the door access control. And so it really becomes price efficient for you to add on other products. So it's very easy with UniFi to grow into other areas. And so UniFi Protect and UniFi Access offers a good opportunity to grow into that physical security market. Our license-free cloud platform allows you, again, to generate recurring revenue with maintenance plans. So the customer, instead of paying us that annual fee, can pay you, take that money that they save, and then instead pay you to help maintain their system. So it's better end result for you, and it's a better end result for the end customer. And as a whole, we are able to do just fine without having to collect those licensing fees. And we remain committed to that business model, by the way, moving forward. So that site manager, like I mentioned, will empower you to manage these deployments at unlimited scale. So you just grow your business as large as you want to grow it. We're going to keep. We've got a platform that can handle whatever scale of businesses you want to deploy solutions to, and just know that we're committed to doing everything we can to be the default solution you use to deploy it, whether it be a network project, a physical security project. We're trying to build a portfolio of products that will make it to where you can just go with UniFi to simplify and improve that ease of management. Managing multiple vendors can be difficult sometimes. UniFi tries to simplify all that and make it easy. And if we get rid of that license fees, and you can do everything you can do with us that you can do with a competitor product that charges those license fees, that alone can be a reason that a lot of people are moving to us today. So it's a good time to be working with UniFi because we're growing a lot and coming out with a lot of new exciting products. So let's talk about just an example of how this affects the network deployment. Let's say that you had your UniFi network integrator, and you had a business with 25 employees that came to you and wanted to deploy UniFi at their office building to upgrade their network. So this might be the example of bill of materials you offered to them. Dream Machine Pro Max with the MSRP of $599. I think that's $599 at $1299 for the Pro Max 48 PoE and $279 for each of those Pro Max U7 Pro Maxes. You can see here this is a total hardware cost of $5,246, not including cabling and that sort of thing. But you can just see this is the UniFi hardware itself, everything you need to manage these devices. You can see that's a very reasonable cost. Now the nice thing is, by being able to offer physical security to this is what it might look like if you wanted to say to this customer, hey, we can also add on to this deployment that this network deployment. We can also just drop a couple of cable runs to each of to the front door and to the back door, and then we can also run four cables to each of these 4 network infrastructure, or the closets where this network infrastructure is stored, the utility closets or whatever kind of employee-only areas that you want to protect. That could be done for this increase of price. You can see with the UA hub door, $199, with UA Ultra $129, and with 8 of these cameras, at each of these entry points, you have an increase of hardware cost of about $2,500, but it gives you so much more from your UniFi deployment, including door access control and video security, that for a lot of times customers are going to really it's going to be a very easy sell to sell customers on these additional products. Now you can charge for labor and everything else, but it's not a lot of additional labor to install these products because of how simple it is. And just as an example, you can see here how adding on these other products can grow your profit margin and help you grow your business. And that's just a small scale. At a larger scale, this is even more. And of course, these numbers aren't exact. What you'll find is that by selling UniFi as a package, by adding on more and more product verticals, it's going to be more opportunities for larger sales and more profitability for your business. So let's get started talking about the actual products. Just to give you an idea of what the infrastructure looks like, this is what we think about when we're thinking about a physical security deployment with UniFi. You've got our site manager I mentioned, which is that tool you use to manage all your deployments over the internet. And each one of these sites that you deploy UniFi physical security to, you have these. You can either have cloud gateways, like this is like UDM Pro Max, or if you have one of our NVR models. Let's say you have a lot of cameras, you're typically going to want to go with a network video recorder model because it allows you to have more hard drive bays. We now have a ENVR model, the enterprise network video recorder that allows you to use up to 16 hard drive bays, and you can have 5 of those on a single site. So all these you can install whatever console you want that supports the products, but you can access that software through whatever device through our site manager. We also offer switching that can be used to power and provide PoE that goes out to all these cameras or access control systems and the hubs and the readers and all that. So this is what the architecture looks like. Let me give you an overview of door access. So I think if I was to be asked like what is the most common issue that people have with deploying physical security or adding it onto their offerings, the most common thing I hear is door access control systems can be intimidating. Like it feels like it's one thing to install and plug in a few cameras, but whenever you start talking about managing entry points, doing things like request to exit buttons, connecting to alarm system, all that, it can feel intimidating. And of course, there is some serious considerations with door access control. Of course, you're going to want to be mindful of fire codes and things as you get started. Basically, it means that if you're going to install UniFi Access, you don't want to lock people into a burning building, right? But it's very easy to avoid that. It's very easy to plan your system in a way that provides security without any drawback. And what I find is that the system, if you actually understand how the system works, it's much more simple than you might think. So let me explain to you what the components are of this UniFi Access system. So we first have the Access Hub. This can be either a hub for a single door or for multiple doors. We offer the Enterprise Access Hub, which provides support connections for up to 8 doors from a single location. This Access Hub acts as the sort of the brain behind the whole operation. So this device connects all the different components that you could use, whether it be a motion sensor, a camera, a reader device, the lock itself, and it connects all these different technologies together, including third-party products, which just something to note, UniFi is compatible with third-party low voltage door access components, like things like a third-party lock, third-party motion sensor. It's made to be compatible because we have to support a wide range of different use cases, right? But this Access Hub kind of acts as the central requirement of the system. Now, this is a mandatory part of the system. The other mandatory part you need is a compatible lock. So in order to manage the entry and exit, you have to make sure you have a lock that can connect to the Access Hub. A lot of times this is electric strike lock, like in this case. We also sell magnetic locks. There's also other locks that you can purchase through other vendors and things that are compatible with the system. Just had to make sure it's supported. If you need to power it through the Access Hub, just had to make sure you check the tech specs and make sure that the power that it provides out, it matches the specs of the lock. So it's usually pretty straightforward. And even if that's not the case, you can use the dry connectors, the non-power connectors to connect to the lock and then power it with an external source. But this Access Hub connects to that lock, connects to this reader, which is then used to verify the form of identity. So you can bring your smartphone. If you have a Apple Touch Pass, you can use this now on our new J3 readers we just released. You can use facial detection. You can use the doorbell chime and so on. We also have you can also have these at the top of this device, this Access Hub. There's also a PoE. It's a small PoE switch too. So you provide PoE in or PoE++ in, and then out from that device, you can power multiple PoE devices, including our reader or camera. This camera can be paired to the Access Hub to provide multiple angles of footage, so that anytime someone opens the door, you have multiple angles to look at to see not only was that person who accessed the facility the right person or the right identification that was needed to access the facility, but we can also make sure that the person using that form of identity was the correct person. So this is important in cases where you need to audit, employee entry in high security deployments. Having extra cameras connected to and paired to your hubs can make a really big difference. We also offer redundant PoE switching, like our mission critical switch, which provides 8 ports of PoE++ out. It has an integrated battery, so you can plug in 8 Access Hubs to this device. In the event of a power failure, it'll roll over to the battery and power these devices through that. So that's a good way to ensure that you're providing, that your system stays functional in the event of a power outage. Of course, that's always going to be something you consider. You also don't have to go that route. You could use any of our switch models with the UPS to power the device, and a backup battery. You could do it that way as well. But those are basically the components of a system. You don't have to use all these. Basically, the minimum requirements are going to be, I'll explain to those in just a minute, but let me just give you an idea of how our product benefits you versus other vendors. I think you'll find that it's very easy to install, very accessible to people who are new to the system. Like I said, if you've worked with PoE, you got everything you need to know to be able to deploy this product. It's an easy setup process, very straightforward. We also offer some enhanced security. So it being a PoE solution, it means that there's additional encryption that prevents people from being able to access and manipulate these systems when they get access to the electrical connections going to these devices. It's also very scalable, so you can deploy 100 of these in a single environment and without having to dramatically alter your proposed solution. And then, of course, value. The price point on some of our products makes it very easy and affordable to deploy door access control systems, and especially whenever you're deploying alongside other UniFi solutions, it becomes very cost effective. And of course, that brings us to the other point I mentioned earlier, which is these devices also offer license-free cloud management for whatever door access control products that we offer. All of them offer the same benefit. So let's go ahead and look at what the software looks like. This is, you can see from the dashboard, we provide information to you about like who's been opening the door, at what point. We've improved the dashboard even further from this, since the screenshot, but you can get information like, who's been accessing the facility most often. You can open the doors from this dashboard. You can get analytics about, we can see if someone accessed the deployment at 4 in the morning when they shouldn't have. It becomes very easy to identify problems and get information about your performance. And very actionable as well. I think you'll find the software management experience of Access very easy. We also have Intercom solutions that offer a full directory that you can set up with, if someone goes up to a door, wants to call up to an employee office to get admitted to the building, you can build a whole directory through the software. It's very straightforward, easy to visualize. You'll find that our software user experience is as easy and as accessible as any product out there. Let's talk about the requirements. So again, sometimes can be seen like there's so many moving parts that it can be confusing, but let me just tell you what the simple requirements are of any deployment. You first have to have a door reader. So whether I'll go over the different models that we support, but basically that device is going to validate your credentials. Then you have to have an access hub that's connected to that. You have to have a compatible lock, and you have to have a UniFi console, as well as PoE PoE to power the device, or local connectivity to the network to be able to connect these components together. That's all that's required. Everything else can be, there's a lot of things you can add on to this, but it's really that simple. So as long as you make sure you have those components in the system, you're going to be fine. And there's even ways to deploy this in a more simple way, just because we offer some products that consolidate certain parts of this system into one device. So that's the reader, that's the hub, the compatible lock, and so on. Let's look at the access control hub. So just so you can kind of see up close, it may look very intimidating when you look at this device. I think this is, again, one of the concerns I hear a lot is they look at this device and see all these terminals, these connections, and they think, oh, do I have to use all of these? Like, this must be surely very complicated. Well, in the most simple form, you might only use the lock terminal and the PoE out at the top. That might be all you need to deploy on this device, connect to this device. In some cases, you might need a few additional components. Like if you need a door position sensor, the door position sensor is used to be able to tell you what the status is of the door. We offer our magnetic lock, actually comes with an integrated door position sensor. So you plug in that magnetic lock into the locked terminals to open and close that lock, and then you also have the 2 additional wires to connect the door position sensor as a part of that lock to this device. And then we'll give you indication in the software that the door is either opened or closed, and allow you to be able to customize behavior system based on that. So if a door is left open, how will you handle that, and so on. But yeah, basically this device basically allows you to connect any third-party component. If you have a third-party motion sensor, you connect to this device using those motion sensor terminals there, just a positive or negative, that when that motion is detected, it sends the signal back to the access control hub. and then that can be used to open up the door for people who are exiting the building or entering if you want to. And that gives you kind of a close-up look at this. I really like that feature where there's 4 PoE out at the top, because it really makes it easy to where you only have to run PoE to this one device, and then from this device you can power the other components you need on your system. So just thinking about, like, sometimes it's that simple to expand to UniFi Access for one entry point in the building, just run one PoE cable, install this close to the door, and connect all the peripheral components. It gives me a secured lockbox, or installed above the ceiling panels, however you want to do it. But it's very straightforward, and it's much more simple than it may seem. Before I move on, Pedro, is there any questions for me so far? We're about halfway through your time. I just want to check and see if there's any questions I can answer for you.
Sure, Andrew. There are a couple of questions here that somebody is asking. Brian Chi, will we see a 24-volt relay accessory in the future? 12-volt tends to stick on some breaker bar installs.
Yeah, it's very possible that you can. I also will note that there's that we also have there's other accessories that you can buy. A lot of these accessories are available through other vendors as well. So if in case we don't offer something, a lot of times you'll find that a third-party manufacturer does produce this. And again, that's the way door access control systems have to be. We're not going to produce every single lock, every single component necessarily. We'll find if there's demand for it for customers. We'll try to do everything that we can, but ultimately there's going to be cases where it's a unique use case that it just doesn't make sense to make. I'll give you an example. So like I worked with the surgical center deploying UniFi Access, and they wanted it set up so their doctors in the room that they prep for surgery could have UniFi Access installed on that door to prevent people from coming in that aren't one of the doctors or have access to this room. So what's done is they come in, bring their personal possessions, their street clothes, they come into this room, use the app or use their NFC card to access the room. They go change, and then they wash up, prep for the surgery, and then they need to exit the room without using their hands to compromise their to compromise the sanitation of the procedure. So what they'll do is, in this case, they wanted a foot motion sensor that they could put, install it to be on the bottom right of the door, that they could just wave their foot in front of, that then would open up the door. And so in their case, they could use our lock, they could use our reader, they could use everything else, but they just had to use a third-party motion sensor because we don't have like a foot pedal motion sensor specifically for that form factor. But we have similar things, but like that's the beauty of UniFi Access, is you can find whatever solution you need for a customer, and you can architect a solution that's just right for the customer deployment. And we're all about that.
Very interesting example. Here's a second question for now, Andrew. Somebody is is asking, do you have any current integrations with your physical security devices into HR timekeeping systems?
Not that I know of currently, but I will just note that we've been working on making API availability for all of our products, and that's a big change for us. Traditionally we haven't always provided that, but with the use of the API, you can use you can really build custom solutions, custom scripting, and things like that. Like, for instance, you can have, if a customer really their biggest ask is they want a switch that's going to turn off the cameras inside their home. Whenever they're home, they can just flip the switch, turn it off, or whatever, an automatic script that if they use their credential, it will automatically turn off the cameras on the inside of the building when they enter the facility. I mean, you can do any sort of custom thing with the API. That's the beauty of it. It's just going to require a little manual work, but yeah, like there's absolutely possibility of leverage the API for that.
Okay, yeah, you can go on, Andrew.
All right, cool. We'll move on, and we just got a few more things to talk about with the Access Hub, but this is going to be just one thing I wanted to cover with the Access Hub. We also offer these other form factors. When you're just trying to decide which one of these to use, let's say you're a building that's going to do 16 doors, you can do 2 enterprise access hubs, connect them to 8 different doors each. But the difference between these 2 products is going to be, instead of the access hub is going to be installed typically close to the door where the reader is being installed. And what's great about this is that if you have a lot of peripheral components, it's going to be a lot easier to wire one PoE cable to the door and then connect all those components to this device close to the door. So a lot of times when people are asking which product I recommend for a use case, I recommend using the Access Hub whenever you don't have cabling ran for all the peripheral components, or you don't have a lot of peripheral components going into the access hub. If it's just a lock, it's just a reader, then yeah, you're fine to do the enterprise access hub. That might be a better choice. It's not going to be a lot more complicated to run the additional two cables there, right? But I think that's typically going to be my recommendation when you're making that decision, is if it's a retrofit, if you don't have the cables already ran, everything, you may just opt for simplicity of the access hub. But for those cases where you need that central location to house this, this device has the added benefit of having an external battery source. So that might be a benefit too that you want to use in the event that you don't have PoE switching on that network. This provides PoE out and connects to this device. It might be a good option for you. But that's generally what I use. The rule of thumb is if you're going to need a lot of devices, you have more connections on the access hub, the door access hub. So that's going to be kind of where I would make that decision. Now, we also offer other hubs as well, including our elevator access hub, which extends UniFi access to the elevator. So you can swipe your card before you access a floor. Is required to act before you select the elevator to go to a certain floor or even open the elevator. This is really it's got the PoE to 2-wire extender, which is kind of a cool part of this kit. It comes in a kit and gives you all the components you need to manage an elevator. It does up to 16 floors. Each one of those. We also have a gate access starter kit, which I really love this product. Customers love it when they see it and work. It works really well and it's pretty cool. You can have one of our intercom units, which can be installed using a pedestal mount at these gate entry points, and allows you to extend access to that gate to do things like use license plate detection, to where you have it set up to where all your employees, if they approach, you have all their license plate added to your system. You have a license plate reader camera installed close to that can detect the license plate number on that device, on that each car. And if that license plate is detected in the system, it'll automatically open the door, so they don't have to call up to the receptionist, ask for admission, or use one of the other manual entry options like a key card or a key code. So this is a really nice solution both for commercial and residential. I see people who like to use this in residential homes that have a gate. It's really nice. You can have a guest that visits your home. You can generate a QR code, text it to them, and then they can. It can be set to expire in 3 hours. They show up to your house. They just put their phone up to the device, show the QR code, opens the gate, and then it will automatically invalidate that credential at the time that you set it to expire. So these types of features make it a really powerful solution. And really now you can extend UniFi not just to the whole building when it comes to security, but also to the gate and the parking lot. So we have cameras that offer that license plate recognition and all that really makes this a powerful solution. So this brings us to that intercom solution. So this is a new product we released this last year that really, I think, is another one that's really easy to add on to deployment. So let's say you've been given a job of wiring a multi-residential unit with new network. It's a new construction. They want you to run PoE to all the apartments and set it up with an access point in each of the rooms. As a part of this deployment, you could pitch to the developer, say, hey, we want to add on. We have the option now to also to offer access control systems, including an intercom system. So the way this would work is you'd have one of those intercom units installed at the ground floor or the entry point to that apartment complex, and you could have each one of those apartments with their own intercom viewer. It's like a smartphone sized device you see here in the bottom left corner that can be installed on the wall of every apartment. Each of these is powered over PoE. They don't have to be connected directly to the intercom or anything. But basically, you just have to run that PoE to the additional PoE drop to each one of the intercom viewers, and then have an access hub, an intercom at the front door, and that lock. And that's as simple as the deployment can be. And then you can set it up to where there's a directory that goes to each apartment. So if someone visits, they can say, oh, I need to call to apartment 202. Click the directory, call apartment 202, and that person will get a call on their intercom viewer showing the person outside, and they can turn on audio if they want to, and then validate their identity, and then open the door if they want to, and buzz them on up. So this is a cool solution that is, you think about how much this costs. This would be for a, maybe for a 24 apartment complex, it would be a matter of maybe a small, single digit $1,000 addition. So maybe $2,000, $3,000 extra to add this onto deployment for a lot of value. It's pretty compelling. So yeah, it's pretty simple to deploy this as well, but these are the kinds of solutions you can build with UniFi Access now. So just a comparison table for what we offer in terms of hubs. These are our different form factors. I just want to note the UA Ultra is kind of an interesting one too. So if you're just getting started with UniFi Access, you want to start with a device maybe for an interior. Let's say you want to just use it your office to lock up the utility closet. You can use that UA Ultra, and what's great about this device is integrated hub and a reader in one device. So instead of having to pay for the UA hub door and also paying for the reader device, you consolidate that into a $129 device. So you think about this, all you need for this deployment, on the back of this device, it has a exit request button terminal and a lock terminal. You just add a lock and a request to exit button. You're talking about like $250 for a door. So what an easy add-on to a customer if you're already putting in the cloud gateway. Suggest they just try out the UniFi Access with UA Ultra, and they'll be able to experience the software management experience, how nice it is to work with. And I think that's the great thing about UniFi. You try even a small deployment of something, you'll find the management experience is so nice that it's very easy to come back and sell to that customer again in the future. But these are our offerings just compared side by side. We also have our readers compared. I just will note that we have a couple new products I'll show you in just a moment. We just released these, but they're going to be very comparable to these G2 Reader Pros. But these are our reader options. And basically the way it works, the lower cost units will offer a lower number of access methods. So for instance, with the Ultra at 129, we don't have a camera on that device. So you're not gonna be able to use the video intercom feature or anything like that. For NFC card, which is what you need in a lot of businesses, it'll be just perfect. So here's all the comparison table of these if you want to take a screenshot. But this just gives you the ability to compare and make a decision when you're trying to choose between the SKUs. We also have these comparison tables on our website. Just go to our website, ui.com, and click Door Access at the top. All right. So here's our new product, the G3 Reader Pro. This is basically the same as the G2 Reader Pro, but it adds on an added benefit of supporting Apple TouchPass. So for those of you that are Apple TouchPass users out there, this is just going to be for an additional $20. You can also add on support for that. We had to have new hardware to support that, but it was something we wanted to deliver to customers. And so really, if you need a deployment, you can use either of these two models interchangeably, as long as that's not the one feature that the customer needs. But if it is, they're going to need this G3 Reader Pro. Now, another product I'm a little more excited about is this one, because of it offers a new benefit that we don't have currently, which is this integrated keypad so it's going to offer a more affordable reader option in the event you don't need video, but you want to use a physical keypad. This is going to be an option, and yeah, pretty cool device. And I think at the price point, pretty nice. So this can be used for external or interior doors as a nice basic set of features that I think offers a good value. So that's we also offer these locks as well, and some other components like a button and so on. And then we also have these starter kits. I recommend another way of getting started if you want to work with the product. Try out one of these starter kits. It includes everything you need for a single door or single elevator or single gate entry system. It offers a single one of these instances. So we just want to try it on one door. These are a good place to get started, and I'm sure that Flytec carries these. All right, so that's UniFi Access. Now, I wanted to spend a little more time on Access just because I think people a lot of times are more familiar with our Protect product. It's been around a little while longer, but hopefully that makes and simplifies and brings some understanding and clarity to our UniFi Access system. All right. Any more questions, Pedro, we need to cover before we move on to Protect?
A couple here, Andrew. Somebody is asking, are you able to tag different VLANs for different ports on the Access Hub?
On the Access Hub, I don't believe that you're able to change the VLANs going to those devices, but I have not ever attempted to test that, to be honest. So that's a good question, but I believe it is not supported.
Okay, and here's a second one. The Intercom viewers must join the same network or can use the private network of the apartment owner?
So they just have to have direct connectivity to that to the hub and the software instance that is the software instance managing that hub. So as long as it's like, they don't have to be on the same VLAN, but they just have to be able to connect directly and not block the traffic between those two segments of the network. We generally recommend them on the same, you don't want them on the same local network, yeah, to manage those.
Okay. That's all for now, Andrew. You can keep going.
All right, cool. Let's go on to Protect. So again, Protect is a cool product too that has, I'd say it's our second biggest product category after network. and it's been around a little while longer. We started with UniFi Video initially. We then switched to UniFi Protect, which became, I feel like a much better user experience, and we improved and upgraded the hardware. We keep coming out with new camera models. Basically, the overview of how the system works: you have these cameras that are PoE powered that connect back to a PoE switch typically, and these devices, or they can be powered by an injector as well if you want to use a non-PoE switch. But these will connect back to a device, the console device. So it can be an NVR device. It can be one of our cloud gateways like the UCG Max that can act as an NVR. But it's going to connect back to the device that's going to manage them and allow for the configuration of these cameras. And it's going to use this device to store the camera feeds. And you can set it up to where these devices record everything from just video, just AI detections of movement, or just detections of movement, to everything, including like we want to record animal detections and things like that with our AI features. So we have a full set of AI features that really add a lot of value to a deployment. So things like facial recognition, you can actually set up a profile. So if you're in a business, like you say, you operate a retail store, the cameras from multiple angles will pick up, the face of each customer. And if there's someone that's committing a theft, you'll have ultimately multiple angle views grouped together with this person's face if you have facial recognition enabled. And it can make it very easy for you to create a report and contact the authorities about a theft. These types of features are really nice and something you add on with the AI features. Now, that's not mandatory. You can use our other products. We also offer a wide range of cameras that I'll talk about, but basically this is the way the system works. We offer, this is like with the detection. So our cameras themselves can be set to track and movement, like a person detection, and then follow a person with our PTZ cameras. This is a cool feature. We have all sorts of other features that are very high and professional features. Our software management experience is very easy and to work with. We have detection zones where you can basically set it up to where in a house, if you don't want to set it up to where it records anything, any movement in the interior house from residents that could be sensitive, you can have it set up to where it's only positioned on the windows and entry points, so that it can start recording whenever it detects someone coming in one of those entry points. We also can set up cool things like entry points where you have it set to count people that are going in or out of a door. So this can be cool for retail, where you can set it up to automatically record each person entering the facility and each person exiting the facility, and you can get a count of how many people are in at a given point in time. But there's this huge set of features that if you haven't tested it out, I recommend you return to the product and try it. We also offer, like I said, license plate detection, and we're just coming out very soon with our first dedicated license plate reader model that works really well at nighttime, can detect license plates on devices moving in the pitch black of night. Even if they're moving at high speeds, it can pull off the license plate numbers, and which can be very valuable. So that's that. We also have an alarm manager feature that allows you to customize and set up these custom notifications, webhooks, and things that basically, if we set it up to trigger whenever we detect a known person of interest, we set up this facial recognition with a previous employee that's disgruntled. We have it set up to where if this person appears, we want to set up we want to basically initiate immediately a push notification or a webhook that would initiate contacting maybe the primary contact at this location. Or you could have it set up to initiate alarm, things like that. But this can be a good way for you to keep a facility secure based on your own custom needs. Vantage Point is another product that, if you're not familiar with it, this is a huge development for UniFi Protect. We made it to where, instead, in the past, you used to have all your UniFi NVRs. If you want to have a dashboard, they had to all be co-located in the same place. Now you can have, with a customer, let's say they have 5 different locations, you can have 5 different NVRs installed at these 5 locations. If they have a single security team viewing and watching the feeds, you can bring them together into one interface with Vantage Point. And this allows you to not only manage multiple sites at once on one dashboard, but you can also scale a single site now up to 5 NVRs, which you think about our NVR, which has 16 hard drive bays, can do hundreds of cameras. We're talking about 1,000 plus devices on a single cameras on a single dashboard. So really, the product's matured a lot. It's come a long ways, but this Vantage Point feature is really critical to selling the product in a lot of cases, because it's going to be where those multi-site deployments are really going to shine with UniFi. We have all sorts of form factors and scenarios in which you can deploy these cameras. I'm not going to go into all the models. I recommend you go out to our website, check out our Protect section. But I just want to point out some of the different form factors that we offer. We have compact form factors, DSLRs that have an actual camera lens on it for high quality imagery. We have 360 cameras that provide a very wide angle and provide the most the widest range, widest degree of coverage with the imagery. We have these discrete AI theta cameras that can be installed in like recess mount, and they can be very small and offers all these flexible components to be deployed with them. And you can see there the size of a pin, how small that device is. And we have all these other models, but just check out our website if you want more information about it. I also have this recent table I put together. There's a few models that we just released that I need to add in here, but again, this is why I recommend you rely on our website. But this can just give you an idea of the kind of range of features we offer, like field of view. Most of these products are outdoor ready, which support AI detection, enhanced AI detection, and so on. But yeah, just check out our website for the most updated version of these. We have all this stuff there and make it very easy for you to compare our products side by side. We just released since this. I just want to add these on here with the AI Dome, which is a new, our newest generation of AI cameras that include 4K video. What's cool about these devices, they also have they have a micro SD card. A micro SD card on these devices. So let's say that you deploy in a very high security deployment where maybe where there's a lot of money, or say it's at a bank or something like that. If you want it to where if someone was able to steal the NVR, that they'd be able to remove that footage, and you need something as an alternative backup source in the event of a theft. Cool thing is with these devices, you can add on that micro SD card, and if that NVR is stolen, you still can pull out the SD card out of these devices and get the previous recordings for however large that micro SD card you use and how much storage it can store. But you can get all the footage that you would have missed by having that NVR stolen. So that's another feature that's nice with these new AI cameras. We have the AI turret, which is just going to be turret form factor. It looks really nice, these products, and just all around performance. And we see that we're working hard on upgrading the image quality on these cameras, and these will offer that superior image quality. We also offer this cool new dual camera mount, just as an example. If we keep coming out with accessories and things that make deploying cameras easier. And one change that you'll notice too, we've worked very hard at stocking our accessories more consistently, and I think you'll find that Flytec will have access to these mounts and everything should you need them. And again, I mentioned the LPR camera. This is coming soon, and this is going to be very specialized for detecting license plate of cars. Can do up to 2 lanes of traffic, fully weatherproof, and so on. And then another product I just wanted to flag too, coming soon, is this, or I think it's already released, is the AI port. It basically can convert any of your third-party cameras, including non-UniFi cameras. We actually, I want to just note this officially, we do support ONVIF, and we have supported ONVIF for a handful of months now. And this was a huge change with our products. Some of you may have been waiting to deploy more UniFi until you knew we supported ONVIF. Now, ONVIF, what that means is that we support third-party cameras. You can manage them through UniFi Protect. You can bring them all into a dashboard. And the reason I think this really matters a lot is if you have a customer that already has a camera deployment, but they're wanting to add on some UniFi Protect cameras and start switching over to UniFi over the course of the next 3 years, you now have the ability to do the phase transition plan and still use the UniFi Protect platform with this. And so, cool thing with the AI port stuff, with the AI port cameras, if you have ONVIF cameras, we don't support all the third-party detection and everything that they may offer on their platform, but with the use of these AI ports, you can get AI detection, classification, and facial recognition, license plate recognition capabilities. So this does it for a handful of cameras on each deployment if you deploy this device. But I think that's basically everything. I just want to mention real quick too that it's really recommended that you do Access and Protect together, because by deploying them side by side, you get a lot of added benefits. I already mentioned that whenever you have UniFi Access paired with UniFi Protect, you can get multi-angle event recording. Facial recognition on the cameras can be used to unlock the doors with the Access software. License plate recognition can be used to open gates. And remote monitoring for the dashboard you can use with the cameras. You can also use to unlock the doors. and you can use those smart detections to build a person or vehicle of interest profile there in the software. So these are some nice integrations that you get. So I recommend deploying them side by side, test it out, see how well it works together. And really, I just want to point out, like, this is an example of how this adds value. Try to have if you're going to deploy this seriously, access and protect, I recommend getting a use case that you can show to customers like this. Shows an entry point. This is our Chicago office. Show someone accessing that facility. My colleague Will here swiping his card there, or using his NFC card on the entry point. We can see from this from the software that we have multiple angles now. Not only the camera on the G2 Reader Pro in this case, but we also have that other angle there that we're seeing right there. So this is just another thing that I really recommend showing off to customers. It takes only a few clicks to set it up, and it's very straightforward. And I think it can really help make the sale for UniFi Access and Protect. But that's all I could have time to go over today. I think I covered a lot of stuff. I hope that wasn't overload. But I want to just open up the remaining time for some questions. I'm happy to answer questions, and I actually don't have a hard stop at 3. So if Pedro, if anything goes over for a couple minutes, I'm also happy to continue answering questions if we have them.
Okay, that's good to know, Andrew. Here are a couple of questions related to the cameras. Somebody is asking, are duplicate plate cameras required, and or how do you handle vehicles with rear-only license plates?
So with that, you can have multiple cameras for detecting license plates. So if that's the case, you would probably need 2 cameras. Of course, our third party, our camera models that aren't the explicitly the LPR models can still read a license plate. So you don't have to exclusively use the LPR model for the record. It's just going to help a lot at nighttime. But yeah, you're welcome to have. You could have 2 cameras. You could have a camera installed. If you have a larger complex, you could have one installed somewhere behind that device that will pick up the cars that's approaching the gate. You have a few different options for how you could do that. It just depends on the deployment, but yeah, you totally have that option of doing multiples for that.
Okay, and talking about the ONVIF, somebody is asking, will audio recording come to ONVIF cameras?
So with the I'm not sure if that's if included with the use of the AI port. I need to test that out with those ONVIF cameras, but that does augment the capabilities quite a bit. So things like recording a detection event, like setting up event recording instead of just a feed, all that's added on with the AI port. I don't know off the top of my head, but I will need to verify if we do if that adds audio support.
And somebody asked, and well, somebody actually answered this one, just to make sure it's correct. How many cameras does the AI port support? Just one?
Right now it's just one, but I understand we're going to have support for up to 5 through firmware.
Okay.
They don't have to be wired through it. Like, it provides PoE out, but you can also have it plugged in I understand you can have it plugged in on the local network, and it can perform that same role, whether you have the PoE passing through it or not.
Okay. Those are going to be the only questions, Andrew. I just want to take a few minutes just to remind everybody that we do have some products on sale from UniFi. They're top selling products. The Dream Machine, networked video recorders on our site, flyteccomputers.com. We're going to leave this special for the next couple of weeks. And here at Flytec, we are very, very excited with the way Ubiquiti UniFi is growing worldwide, especially here in the US. We're excited to see that you're really into the enterprise market now. So a lot of those top brands, I guess they're very worried right now about UniFi. So we're happy and excited here at Flytec being a partner of Ubiquiti. And thank you very much for the presentation, Andrew.
My pleasure. Thanks for everyone for being here today. And maybe we'll do another one of these in the future. If there's interest and we want to drill down into the applications, just let me know. But it's been nice to meet with everyone. Thanks for your time. And hopefully we'll meet again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, goodbye.